So feel free to check that out, copy, paste into your browser. So Growing Prevention is an online workshop series via Zoom designed to develop substance abuse professionals, community members, elected officials, law enforcement agencies, and parents on topics that will enhance their careers, communities, and homes through education, connection, and resources. And we appreciate our sponsor, South Bay Prevention. And this is in partnership with MAD, Friday Night Live, ADAP, and South Bay Communities Creating Change. Oh, great, we have that message again, Jen. So everyone, you're here for Tosin Balagoon. She's the prevention coordinator for Los Angeles County Friday Night Live Partnership. And she's going to be giving us her engaging youth training. And we're all very much looking forward to it. So Tosin, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and let you take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to switch over and share my screen for the PowerPoint today. There we go. So again, my name is Tosin Balogun. I work at the LA County Office of Education, and I manage the Friday Night Live, or the FNL program. And today I'm going to be walking you through engaging youth and how adults can support young people. So these are the objectives for today. One is to discuss youth development principles and also youth engagement practices, and then also to share tools, strategies, ideas, and resources for youth engagement. So
I'm sorry. I realized I forgot to read your bio. We got to give you your credit.
Oh.
So really quick. Tosin is prevention coordinator at the Los Angeles County Office of Education and has been working in the youth development and substance abuse prevention field for more than 10 years. Tosin currently manages the Friday Night Live program at LACO and works with middle and high school youth throughout Los Angeles County. FNL is a statewide program that engages youth as active leaders and resources in their communities. Tosin enjoys working with youth and providing them with opportunities to build their capacity, learn new skills, and engage with their peers and community. So thank you, Tosin.
Thank you, Melissa. I think I was on number 3. So also, I really just want to be able to share some tools and ideas for you all to take away. So we're going to jump into that after we talk about youth development and engagement. But first, I would love to know who's on the Zoom. This would, normally be who's in the room, but we're going to do a little poll. Melissa, you can help me launch that poll. Go ahead and indicate on the poll what your title or role is. We'll give you a few seconds to complete that. And then if you happen to choose other, if you don't mind to go in the chat box and let us know what that other is. Is it maybe you're a student or case manager or something like that? But it looks like mostly prevention providers we have right now. Give a couple more seconds for people to chime in. And in the chat, let me see.
So we got program director for transitional housing.
Okay.
That's a lot of acronyms, so I'm not sure what all that stands for. The counselor, youth outpatient substance abuse coordinator, prevention coordinator, supervisor over teen family services.
Okay.
Health educator, social media marketer, workforce staff trainer.
Nice.
Resident services coordinator.
Nice. I actually used to be one of those. That's cool.
Awesome.
All right, so thank you all for sharing. Just want to get an idea of, what capacity people are working with you. So we're going to go in that poll, and then here's the results so you all can.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I think I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it looks like most of us are prevention providers. We do have some social workers and a good handful of others. So thank you all for sharing. and stop that share. Okay, so a little bit about me. This is a picture of me when I was in high school. And some of you might already have seen this before from other times I've presented, but I grew up in the Bay Area in a city called Richmond. So I grew up in and around the city of Richmond, which is not too far from Oakland in San Francisco. And I'm actually a product of a youth development program. So when I was in high school, I joined the Friday Night Live program, which I currently manage because I needed volunteer hours to graduate. And I know a lot of young people join different youth groups for different reasons. And then, you know, it's our job to hopefully make sure they stay. So this is actually a photo from, I think my junior or senior year. I think it was my senior year of high school. And like I mentioned, I was part of the FNL program, and it was a mentoring program. And what we used to do is every Friday, after school, we would walk across the street to the middle school and kind of talk to the youth about what high school was like and why we were choosing not to use alcohol and drugs and different things like that. So I think I kind of showed you already by accident, but that's me in the picture. Uh, and I had a lot of fun being part of this group. And of course, at that time, I didn't realize how, you know, now as an adult, I'm still, you know, working with the same program and able to give back to youth like someone gave back to me. So just a little bit of background about me. And yes, I'm old enough that, you know, this photo was taken on one of those single use cameras. You had to wind up and take to Walgreens and wait an hour to get developed. So that shows my age a little bit. But I'm just here today to share a little bit about myself and some of the tips and the tricks and things that I've learned as I've been a part of youth development and prevention and all that. So I hope you all can get something from today. So like I mentioned, I manage the Friday Night Live program and FNL for short. So FNL is actually a statewide program, and it's been active in California since 1984. So that's over 35 years. It's actually a photo from last year. We had a adult conference where we like celebrated FNL and all that. So Friday Night Live is a youth development program. We are a drug prevention program, but we're founded in youth development. So this is our mission statement right here. Friday Night Live builds partnerships for positive and healthy youth development, which engage youth as active leaders and resources in their communities. So if you're interested in finding out more about FNL, there's the website, and of course you'll get a PDF of this PowerPoint after the training. So for those of you who aren't familiar with prevention, prevention are activities that work to educate and support individuals and communities to prevent the use and misuse of drugs and the development of substance use disorders. So like I said, we are a youth development program, but we're funded by prevention money. So we kind of use youth development as our foundation for our programming. So this is the strategy that we use. It's called the Alternative Strategies from the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention. And this is a quote that pretty much says that, you know, when we work with young people, the assumption is that if we have them engaging in healthy activities, they're less likely to be attracted to alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. And we also meet the needs that these young people would usually seek out from using drugs. So that's the whole reason why, you know, prevention and youth development really tie in together. And this is one of the strategies that we use for all of our FNL programming, the Youth Adult Partnerships or Leadership Activities, and that's services and activities through which youth and adults work collaboratively. So if you run a youth group, if you do any type of youth development or skill development activity, if you have your young people participating in a coalition meeting, these are all considered youth adult leadership activities. So I'm gonna move on, just kind of tying everything together. This is a quote by a woman named Karen Pittman. She is a sociologist, and she's a recognized leader in youth development. She actually co-founded the Forum for Youth Investment, and she's the current CEO and president. And she says, youth development is an ongoing process in which young people are engaged in building the skills, attitudes, knowledge, and experiences that prepare them for the present and future. So, you know, we can make sure that youth don't get into drugs, but it's more important to make sure that they're prepared for college, that they're prepared for work and prepared for life, because, you know, preventing problems and promoting development go hand in hand. They're not two separate things. Because we know that if we support young people, we provide them with opportunities to make a difference. Research shows that, you know, those young people who contribute to their community, who have opportunities to build their skills, who have supportive relationships at home, at school, and in their community, they all have better outcomes. So that's the reason why we really try to focus on developing skills. Because, like, for example, if you think about a program like DARE, which a lot of people, you know, will say wasn't as successful, is because it was a lot of just say no, right? But how much of the program was really focusing on making sure that young people felt comfortable and confident to say no, that they had those actual skills, like to refuse things that they didn't want to do. So it's really important that we work with young people to build different type of skills. And there's a really good YouTube video that this same woman, Karen Pittman, talks about youth development in more detail. And she talks about how, you know, young people are like 5 times more likely to do better in adulthood when they get all these reinforcements. So I can send that link out later if anyone's interested in checking that out. So a little bit more about youth development. It's an asset building approach. We really want to meet youth's needs and build their competencies that enables them to be successful adults. So we really want to focus on what we want them to do and not what we don't want them to do. And then youth aren't recipients in our programs. They should be resources and partners. And the focus is also on building resilience and finding positive ways to express youth voice. So we'll talk a little bit about that moving forward. I'm gonna take a pause. I know the chat box has kind of been popping up. I don't know if there's anything in there I'm missing. Oh, Richard, I know you used to be in FNL too. We talk about this all the time. So thanks. I'm gonna move along. So we have standards of practice in the Friday Night Live program, and our standards of practice are really built on the youth development principles that I shared earlier. And they really influence how we work with young people. So all of the youth who participate in our programs, we expect them to experience the following. And there's 5 different standards. And the way that we measure this is every year we do we call it a youth development survey. So every single year we ask them to share with us their feedback. Of course, it's like a regular survey, and then there's a bunch of open-ended questions too. So I'll walk through each of the 5 steps with you all right now. There we go. All right, so the first one is providing a safe environment. So we want, of course, our young people to feel emotionally and physically safe. So these are just some suggestions of things that you can do that really brings your program together and help respect people from different backgrounds. The first one is creating group agreements. So of course, having young people kind of share, like every time we come into this space, what are some things that, you know, we want everyone to agree to? So it could be, you know, we respect each other, or we keep it confidential, or whatever you all kind of choose as a group and then vote on, or however you want to make that process smooth. The second one would be youth-friendly meetings, and I'll talk a little bit about that in another section. And then also our protocol for addressing conflict. So when something goes on in your group and there's some issues, how are you dealing with that? And how do you make sure that the space is safe for young people? The next one, meaningful engagement and decision-making. So designing the program or the opportunity with youth. So making sure that, you know, they have the voice to kind of share how they feel or what they think, or how things should look like. Providing opportunities for youth to lead meetings with their peers. So we have some groups that in Friday Night Live, our youth groups, we call them chapters. We have some chapters where they have a whole cabinet. They have a president, a vice president, and they pretty much lead the meetings for us. And us as adults are just kind of there to assist or to, you know, help them with bigger ideas and decision making. But for the most part, they're trained and we coach them in leadership, in facilitation, and in meeting management. It's hard when I don't really see faces for feedback. So I'm thinking, should I pause? Am I going too fast? Is this okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, thank you for your feedback. Thank you. Okay. So moving along. The next one is opportunities for leadership and advocacy. So engaging youth in critical exploration and analysis of their communities. So being able to kind of see the environments they're in. And when we talk about communities, communities can mean different things, right? Some people think their community is their school. Some people can be their family, their neighborhood. So that could be, you know, a bunch of different ways. Providing opportunities for youth to share findings and recommendations with stakeholders and decision makers. So this photo is actually one of the presidents of a chapter that we have, a high school chapter in Montebello. Her name is Giselle, and she was comfortable and trained and knowledgeable on e-cigarettes and tobacco, and she felt safe enough to go speak to the LA County Board of Supervisors. So she was able to provide her feedback and, you know, her experiences with some decision makers and have that opportunity to show her leadership. So this is just an example of what that would look like. And also providing opportunities for youth to lead meetings with peers. I talked about that, but I'll go into detail on another slide. But we want youth to have a voice and to be involved in the planning and really pushing youth-driven and youth-led programs. That's important in just, you know, those youth development skills that we've been talking about. The next one, caring and meaningful relationships with peers and adults. So when I showed you that first picture of me in high school, and, you know, there's some people in that picture that I'm super close with, and it's because, you know, we started off really getting to know each other in that group. And even Richard, I'm sure maybe you could think back, you were in FNL too when you were in high school. You could probably think back to, you know, some friends or maybe an adult in your life that made a difference and you remember up to this day. And I know I have a lot of those as well. And I'm sure some other people on the Zoom can also relate to that. So when we talk about youth-friendly meetings, the first thing we always incorporate for mostly every meeting is some type of icebreaker, some type of getting to know you activity or team builder, or just, you know, it kind of just sets the tone and it's something for them to look forward to. Sometimes the youth come up with their own, or sometimes in the beginning we lead them. You know, some of them are just fun, and then some of them can be also like has a little lesson in there. So we have a bunch of different icebreakers and things like that. I can always share if anyone's interested. And that kind of leads to the opportunities for deeper relationship building, you know, as you get to know other people. And then youth-friendly meetings also, like I've been repeating, youth helping to plan and facilitate. And then also ongoing capacity building in leadership, communication, and teamwork. So that could look a lot of different ways, but we want our young people to have a sense of belonging and to feel comfortable partnering with adults. So that might look differently depending on your group and, you know, the needs that you have for your group. And then also building capacity of adult allies to partner with you. So that may be one of the reasons why you're here today. But, you know, us as adults also need training and, you know, resources and ideas of how we can partner with youth in better ways. So I think it's important to build capacity of the adults working with youth as well as the youth that we work with. And then the last one is interesting and relevant skill development. So we want to engage youth to identify, you know, things that are interesting in them. Like, what do they want to learn? What are some of the skills that they want to develop? Is it communication? Is it teamwork? Is it research? Is it planning? And then talk to them about how they want to see that come to fruition. So maybe, like, for example, we take our students on field trips. We take them to conferences. We have events, you know, different ways that they're able to kind of build their skills in the way that they prefer. And then, but also sometimes us as adult allies also provide those skills and training. So maybe, like, for example, my students might ask for, you know, I want to learn more about e-cigarettes or whatever the case. So maybe I would come and, you know, give them a deeper training on what that is. And maybe they're also taught how to lead the training so that they can possibly facilitate the training for younger students or for parents or for teachers or whatever the case. So it really depends on what they're interested in, and working with them to kind of figure out how they'll get those skills. So what I'm gonna show actually a quick video. And this video is from Riverside County Friday Night Live. And this video shows our standards of practice in action. So I'm gonna play it for you all. It's a little under 3 minutes. I hope everyone will be able to hear.
Friday Night Live has taught me to always be strong.
I've developed so much as a leader. I have identified my strengths, and before I was very insecure and I wouldn't have been able to name out strengths.
To see the greatness in myself and to bring it out, and see the greatness in other people and bring it out of them.
Be a better role model and be a better leader overall. I'm a better role model for my little brother, and to not be afraid of what others say.
How to be a good leader, because before I wouldn't be able to stand even in front of my classroom and give a presentation. But because I joined this, I'm able to give a presentation in front of a lot of kids.
They've taught me to be an outgoing person and also really show others what it's like to be a leader and to bring awareness about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and just to make sure that everyone's living a happy life and not one that they're forced to.
FNL has taught me how to be collaborative. Friday Night Live has taught me that no matter what people say, no matter what people do, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, FNL has taught me to love myself, and it's okay to be myself.
Friday Night Live has taught me to be me. It's taught me to be free. It's taught me to love all things about myself, flaws and all.
I learned never be afraid to be yourself.
Friday Night Live is everything that I am today. I'm a strong, confident, loving person, and I'm never going to let anybody take that away from me.
How to put myself out there, how to actually give my words meaning. When you're in FNL, you're part of a family. They're your support system. I would like to thank my advisors, Chris and Jessica.
I want to thank Chris and Jessica for all they've done.
Becca, Nitzia, and Cubby.
Dre, Lance, Gentry, everyone part of the staff.
I know everybody's probably going to say it, but Chris and Jessica.
Miss Brown from University Heights Middle School. Miss Williams from University Heights Middle School. And Chris and Jessica.
I really look up to them as an older brother and older sister.
Without them, I wouldn't be the leader that I am today. They've always been there for me and given me great advice. I'm Kim.
My name is Antonio Guillen.
My name is Jill.
My name is Tatum Keckline.
I'm Alina.
My name is Eric Gonzalez.
My name is Giancarlo Mata.
And Alyssa.
My name is Jada Edwards.
And I just want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you, Friday Night Live.
All right, so that video is really inspiring to me. It kind of, you know, reinforces the reason why we do the work that we do. And if you heard within the video, a lot of young people were talking about, you know, they were able to get opportunities to develop their leadership skills. They were able to collaborate. Being part of the program really and reinforced their decision not to use, you know, drugs and alcohol. They talked about self-love, and a good amount of them spoke about, you know, specific adults in their life who were really supportive or, you know, showed up for them and different things like that. So, you know, like I said, those are like our standards of practice in action, showing that young people are benefiting and receiving the support that they need. And I think I forgot to mention, when it comes to Friday Night Live, a lot of people ask, like, well, why do you guys call it Friday Night Live? And do you guys only do stuff on Fridays? And that's a question we always get, but it actually started because back in the 80s, they used to actually provide like alternative activities on Friday nights. So of course we know Friday nights are usually the time of the week where young people go to parties and, you know, things can happen. So back then they used to like have parties in like the school gym, or if you were at a party and you needed a safe ride home, they'd give you a ride home. So that's kind of where the name Friday Night Live came from, which we don't really do that at all anymore. Our program is really, like I keep saying, is about that youth development, but the name didn't change. So if anyone was wondering what the name came from, that's where it's from. So moving along, we are going to jump into Heart's Ladder. Some of you may have, got some annotation going on. I'm gonna clear that out. That must have been an accident. So some of you may have seen this before. It's called Heart's Ladder. It's a youth participation and engagement kind of system. And it was developed by Roger Hart in 1992. And he's a professor of psychology. And his research focused on understanding the everyday lives of children and youth. So what we're going to do with this ladder is I'm going to I'm going to share with you 8 different scenarios, because there's 8 steps on the ladder. So if you look at Heart's Ladder, so it's pretty much showing that we as adults should try to focus on the top 5 steps of the ladder and really stay away from the bottom 3 steps. So the bottom 3 steps are manipulation, decoration, and tokenism. And those are actually not examples of youth engagement. And, you know, us as adults have our choice to move away from these methods and try to engage young people in a more meaningful way. So what I'm going to do is we will walk through each step on the ladders as we go through the scenarios. So I'll read the scenario. We're going to pull up a poll, and I'm going to have you all guess where on the ladder you think the particular scenario falls under, and then we will debrief it afterwards. So I'm going to read the first scenario. Wait, let me see. Melissa, are you?
I'm here.
Okay, I can't see. Hold on, I have to come back to my screen. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to read the first scenario, and then you can launch the poll for me, please.
Okay.
Okay. So the first scenario is young people decide a youth wellness center would be beneficial in their community. They partner with adults from different youth organizations, and together they talk with the local Board of Education to provide resources and support. So Melissa's gonna launch the poll, and just take a guess. And like I said, we will talk about the answer after you all kind of guess. Where do you think on the ladder this falls under? And there's no right or wrong answer. Well, there is a right answer, but some of them might sound similar, or they might fall, you know, pretty close on the ladder. So I will share with you the correct answer, but just know it could still fall on one maybe right under it, depending on how you choose to interpret it. And I know you don't know what each level is yet, so it's fine. That's why I said there's no right or wrong answer. We'll talk about it afterwards. So about half of you have voted. I'm gonna wait a couple more seconds to see what the consensus is, what a majority of you think the answer is.
We have a hand raised.
Could you go ahead and unmute Adria? If I'm saying that right.
That was a mistake. That was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
No problem. Thank you. And just moving forward too, if anyone happens to have a question, you can either put it in the chat box or you can go ahead and raise your hand. All right, so we're going to end the poll and I will share the result. So it seems like a majority of you said the answer is young people lead and initiate action. And then right after that, the highest vote was young people and adults share decision making. So I will show you the answer. So the answer for this one is young people and adults share decision making, but like I said, that one is really close to young people lead and initiate action. So it's really pretty much how you interpret it. But if you read over here on young people and adults share the decision making, it says young people have the ideas, set up the project, and invite adults to join them in making decisions throughout the project. They are equal partners. So this one is, of course, the highest on the ladder. And it doesn't mean necessarily that every time you do a project or every time you work with young people, you're going to be at the very top of the ladder. You know, as different things happen that hopefully you're not at the bottom three, but we really want to stay as much as we can, you know, at the top 5 steps of the ladder. I don't know, Melissa, are people asking questions in the chat box? I see it popping up, but.
They said they weren't able to select the answer for some reason.
I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure why not, but we're gonna do a couple more. So hopefully it ends up working for you. And these scenarios that I'm sharing, some of them I've actually encountered myself.
Chromebook blues.
Chromebook, somebody.
That's a tongue twister.
Chromebook blues. Someone's, maybe it's, yeah, and I see some like annotation to figure that out.
I don't know if that's me trying to close the chat. Sorry if it is.
So some of these scenarios, like I said, doesn't have any names or organizations or anything, but it's some things that I've seen myself. And yeah, we're gonna move along to the next one. Next scenario, there's 7 more to go. A young person is asked last minute to be on a panel to represent at-risk youth and is not given the opportunity to connect with peers or understand the purpose of the panel. At the event, questions are geared more towards the adults, and adults on the panel end up speaking a majority of the time. So we're gonna launch the poll again, and you are going to take your guess to where you think it falls on the ladder. And these are all random, by the way. We're not gonna go right in order of the ladder. I can't make it too easy for you guys. Okay, looks like 45% of you have voted. So I'll wait a couple more seconds. If you're not able to vote, I'm sorry. It may be because you're on your phone. I'm not sure. It's different features.
They were on a Chromebook, so but they said they were able to do it, so we're good.
Okay, good.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, good. A good amount. Wait a couple more seconds if anyone else wants to chime in. Give us some theme music, Melissa. gonna end the polling.
Okay.
So majority of you got this correct. The answer is tokenism. So tokenism, reading over here, is when young people are given a limited voice and little choice about what they can say and how they can communicate. So of course, I mean, it's nice in theory that you asked a young person to be on a panel, but it was last minute, and that young person wasn't even given the opportunity to really understand why they were on the panel or even connect with their peers to understand, you know, or to get their feedback. And then at the actual event, the adults are kind of over talking the young person. So of course that's considered tokenism, which is definitely one of the steps we want to stay away from as much as we can. And, you know, our intentions can be good, and we can hope and, you know, think that we're going to be maybe on the top of the ladder, but it can be one decision or one choice that we make, and it unfortunately brings us back down. So we kind of need to be mindful throughout the project. And that's even why the key questions are there. It says, you know, which level of Hart's Ladder is our project on, and which level should it be on? So it's kind of, sometimes you have to check in, maybe at the start of the project it was, and then by the middle or the end, it could have changed. So the next one, a group of youth want to host a self-care and mindfulness webinar. Youth work together to make decisions and plan for the event. Adult program staff check in with youth about their ideas and provide support throughout the process. So where on the ladder would you think that one falls under? Okay, people doing great so far. The correct answer is in the lead. I'm gonna give you a couple more seconds. About half of us have voted, so I'll give you maybe about 10 more seconds for the rest who would like to vote. I'm gonna check the chat box right now.
More Chromebook blues.
Okay. Well, thanks for your participation, even though it's not working for you right now. I'm gonna go ahead and end the polling. So the answer is young people lead and initiate action. So most of us got this correct. Someone is drawing. Is that you, Melissa? There we go. Okay, so young people lead and initiate action. That one is the second to last step. Young people have the initial idea and decide how the project is to be carried out. Adults are available and trust in the leadership of young people. So I know a lot of us, you know, we're funded in different ways, and sometimes our funding might say, hey, you know, you have to do this, this, and this, and, you know, that's fine and understandable, and we can still be engaging our youth in a quality way, even though we have, you know, certain things that we have to do. So the next one, an after-school coordinator receives a $500 budget to organize events for Red Ribbon Week. The coordinator meets weekly with youth to brainstorm ideas, plan, and implement their ideas. So where on the ladder would you say that falls under? Okay, we're doing great so far on this polling. We'll wait a few more seconds. Only about 38% have voted. About half of us have voted now. Let's make it at 80%. Let's go. Okay, we're almost there. And give a few more seconds. You read through Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the polling. Share the results. So the answer is adult initiated shared decision making with young people. That got the most votes, and that is the correct answer. So great job, everyone got that right, and everyone else too. So adult initiated and shared decisions with young people is adults have the initial idea and young people are involved in making decisions, planning, and implementing the project. So yeah, we're gonna move on. Next one. There's only how many left? 3? 4 more left. So bear with me on this part, okay? Some people like the polls, some people maybe don't like the polls. Okay, so next one. A group of students are invited to welcome participants at a fundraiser, but they are only asked to take photos with the executive director and board members in order to promote the fundraiser on social media accounts. So where on the ladder would we put this scenario? So if there's no repeat. So if we've already chosen one of the scenarios to fall on a certain level of the ladder, then it's not going to repeat. Just a little cheat sheet for you. About half of us have voted so far. Give it maybe 15 or so more seconds.
In the chat, we have the response decoration.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna end the polling. Thank you all for participating in that one. Most of you got that right. The answer is decoration. So a little bit more about decoration. Young people take part in an event in a very limited capacity and have no role in decision making. So in that scenario, the young people are invited to speak, but the real motivation may have been just to get the photos taken to promote the fundraiser, which, like we said, is non-participation and where we kind of want to stay away from. Next scenario, a teen center coordinator a teen center coordinator uses the students' cartoons in the monthly newsletter without asking for permission or giving credit. After the student voices her concerns, I'm getting tongue twisted. Let me drink some water, please. Hold on. After the student voices her concerns, the coordinator thinks that it's not a big deal and she should be happy her work was published. So where on the ladder would you all guess this scenario falls under? And we're down to only 2 more scenarios after this. So we've already figured out 6 steps on the ladder. About half of us have voted. Wait, maybe about 15, 20 more seconds if anyone else wants to chime in. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll here and share the results. Most of you got this correct. Manipulation. So 92% of us got that right. When it comes to manipulation, adults have complete and unchallenged authority and abuse their power. They use young people's ideas and voices for their own gain. So we definitely want to stay away from doing that one. Next scenario. A city council hosts focus groups to get young people's input about a new park in their neighborhood. Young people tell the council about features in the park they would like to see included. The council provides feedback to the young people about how their views affected decision making. So second to last one, where on the ladder do you think this falls on? Okay, about a third of us have voted so far. About half of us. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the poll in about 10 seconds or so.
Young people consulted is the response in the chat box.
Correct answer. So most of us got that one right again. Young people are consulted and informed. And this one I want to highlight specifically because I think the key part of this is that the council provided feedback to the young people. And me personally, I think it's important to kind of circle back with youth. You know, when we ask for their feedback, we should share with them how we implemented their feedback. And we shouldn't, you know, make promises either, because I've seen some situations where, you know, promises were made like, oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that. And then when it came down to it, that's not necessarily what happened. So we can, that's why I was saying before, we can fall back on the ladder depending on, you know, maybe we intended to be young people consulted and informed, but then something happened down the line where we fell back further down the ladder because, you know, something happened. And sometimes it's not our fault. Sometimes it's admin or, you know, things outside of our control. But our intention should be clear. We should try to respect our young people's ideas and explain to them if something wasn't, you know, used, or, you know, their ideas or whatever the case was didn't happen that right way. We should explain it to them and have a discussion so that they can understand, you know, how that played out. So young people consulted and informed, adults design and facilitate the project, and young people's opinions are given weight in decision making. Young people receive feedback about their opinions. Last one, very last one, then I will stop bugging you with the polls. A youth conference coordinator asked 2 young people to lead a workshop on how to facilitate and work with adults to understand their role. So where would that fall under? Melissa, can we launch that poll? Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna give about 15 more seconds. Almost half of us have voted. Let's see where that one falls under. You all did a pretty good job with this. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll here and share the results. So the answer is young people assigned but informed, which is still pretty high on the ladder. I'm gonna look at that one. Adults decide on the project and young people volunteer for it. So that's an example of how I was saying sometimes we get funding to do something and we ask our young people, hey, could you help us with this? And then young people understand the project and adults respect their views. So this is probably the lowest on the ladder where it's still considered engaging and participating. So as long as we try not to fall on the last 3, we should be good. I'm gonna pause right here. I don't know if anyone has any questions. If you wanna raise your hand or type in the chat box before I move on to the next part.
All right, Brenda has a question, and Andre Morales raised your hand. So we're gonna unmute Brenda first.
Okay.
All right, you're unmuted, Brenda, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is like the hearts ladder thing is very, very useful. I'm wondering if what would you say at what level would capacity building be at? Would that be young people assigned but informed?
So capacity building, like trainings or?
Yeah, so like for us, as I'm with the Tobacco Free Partnership in the city of Montebello, Maywood, and we, we're trying to recruit youth to our coalition.
Mhm.
And so at the beginning, wouldn't everything at the beginning of working with youth, wouldn't it just be capacity building?
Yeah, definitely.
Clearly assigned, because that's where I'm kind of lost. It's like I can't see where that is on this, and I would hate for it to be a non-participation.
Oh, no. So, I mean, capacity building, we're actually working. So maybe once, of course, capacity building is kind of like the very beginning before you even get to the project. So you infuse capacity building all throughout your programming, but let's say once you actually work with them to, maybe you want them to start speaking at city council or to their principal or whatever the case, then that's when you can kind of more assess where on the ladder your project would fall under. Does that answer your question?
I had to mute her because there was some feedback.
Okay.
Yes, yes, that answers my question. I think, like I said, this is very helpful. Just to stay away from within that, especially at the beginning stages, to stay away from the tokenism, the decoration, and the manipulation. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. All right, Andre, I'm going to unmute you.
Man. Yeah, how's it going? I wanted to find out about the origin of, well, not like the origin, but just like at least like, I don't know, maybe I missed that part about Hearts, like whoever this Hearts is that like Kevin Hart? And like the other thing I wanted to suggest is that like when you were during the poll, when you read the slide and then you open up the poll, like can you like when the poll is open back up, can you read it again, the slide again, while we're kind of like going through the options, because like some of the slides, it was because I was unable to read it fast enough. And does anybody?
Sorry about that. I think if you're on a laptop, you can move the poll to the side. But for your first question, you were kind of breaking up, so I'm not 100% sure if I heard your question, but I think you were asking where this ladder came from.
Right.
His name is Roger Hart. He's a sociologist, so you can Google him. He's a professor, and he's done a lot of research when it comes to youth.
Okay.
So RT.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's no more polls though, but thank you for your feedback. So if we do this again, we kind of know how to roll with it. I appreciate it.
All right. More questions?
Okay, I'm gonna go through the rest of the presentation. So now that we kind of know about Heart's Ladder, this tool right here is called the Youth Adult Partnerships Checklist. I did not create it. I just have used it in the past. Actually got this at a Friday Night Live training that I attended a few years back. So what I'm gonna do is ask someone, I need one volunteer. If you can go ahead and raise your hand. Anybody? I'm gonna ask this person to, I'm gonna explain how this person can, whoever volunteers, can go through the checklist and complete it live with us right now. So someone that's comfortable to kind of answer this checklist live right now. If you wanna raise your hand, and I'll explain how you're gonna do it. Preferably if you're on a desktop or a laptop also. Do I have any volunteers?
No one's raising their hand.
This is also a cool feature that you'll be able to, you know, potentially your students or even, you know, other adults, if you want to share this checklist with them. Melissa, will you be my guinea pig then?
I will.
Okay, it's okay to be shy, no worries. So what I'm gonna do is ask Melissa to use the annotate feature. So for those of you who aren't familiar with annotate, pretty much at the top of your screen, you can hit the annotate, and this is just for Melissa right now. She would hit the annotate and then click on stamp, and then she can complete the checklist right now live in front of our eyes. So whenever you get a chance, Melissa.
All right, I think I'm ready. I knew no one was gonna sign up. All right.
Okay. So like I said, this is a youth, you can go ahead and fill it out at your own pace, but this is a youth adult partnership checklist. So this is something that you can use to check in on yourself. And even me, I'm not always, you know, good at every single thing on here. I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. So there's some things that, you know, we want to learn more about, or you practice often, or you do often, or some things you feel comfortable that you do. And I really like this quote from Mary McLeod Bethune. We have a powerful potential in our youth, and we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices so that we may direct their power toward good ends. So, you know, these are just, I think it's about 15 or 16 statements that you can read through and kind of check in with yourself, check in with your team, even maybe have your students or your youth fill it out and see how they feel like, you know, it's not just for adults, it can also be for young people as well, to kind of check in and see how do they feel like they're doing, you know, within the group. And this is going to be in a Dropbox link that I will share at the end. And also Heart's Ladder, I think, is in that Dropbox. If not, I'll put it in there. But this checklist and a couple other resources are in there too. So thank you, Melissa, for volunteering, being honest with us.
I know, right? Gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real.
I'll give you a couple minutes to go ahead and do your self-assessment. And if anyone else that's reading, you know, you could do yours to yourself as well, where you think you fall. So that heart is kind of on 2 lines there.
My bad.
So the next part.
What if there's no experience? I guess learn more about.
Huh? Oh, okay. And then the next part of this, once Melissa completes the checklist, is more just, I'm going to be sharing some ideas and resources, because we're kind of done with that whole youth engagement and development kind of framework.
Getting a little crooked here.
Nice.
Did I get all of them?
I love you used a heart there. So it seems like, you know, you got a couple things that you're practicing. Majority, I feel like you say you're doing often. There's a couple things you want to learn more about, and you feel good about, you know, doing a good amount of stuff. So yeah, nice. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Chelsea.
I'm gonna go ahead and clear that out. And this is a feature, I think it's only with the pro version though. If you have the pro version of Zoom, then you can, you know, use this, and there's other little stamps and, you know, fun stuff that you can do. So a lot of us who are doing virtual meetings and, you know, Zoom and everything like that, it makes it a little bit more interactive. So yeah, so moving along. Oh, I gotta clear that. So these are some tips that we created. You know, this is pretty much when we're not, you know, in the safer at home restrictions that we're on right now. But these are 10 tips for youth engagement. This will be in the Dropbox link that you'll receive after this training. So I'm not gonna go through it. If anyone's interested, you could read through it, you know, at another time. I'm gonna continue on with some other ideas I have. Engaging youth while we are safer at home. So these are just some ideas and things that I've come across or I've used myself that we can use right now to engage our young people. So of course, the first thing that we want to do is stay connected with our youth. So all of these are different apps or websites that you can use to stay connected. So outside of Zoom, of course, we have Google Hangouts, we have House Party, which is a fun app. There's another one called Life Size. So you'll get a copy of this PowerPoint, and you can check these out, when you get some time. But it's a good way to try to stay connected with young people right now. Another thing that we're doing to stay connected is check-ins. So instead of just doing a check-in of like, hey, how are you doing? How's life? I created this simple, it's like an Instagram story check-in or a social media check-in. Actually, someone else created it and I recreated it on Instagram, where, you could post it and just have a little fun with checking in. I've also seen a couple people say that they did this like during their live Zoom meeting and just have people say it out loud. So this is another idea of a way to stay connected. This is also another way, we call it Head, Heart, Feet. And usually we do this after a training. So let's say you were to do a virtual training or even an in-person training and you want a way to kind of wrap up the day. We do head, heart, and feet. So the head is tell us something you learned or thought about. The heart is tell us something you're feeling. And then the feet is an action you can take that relates to something you learned or felt today. So this is another way that we kind of just do a check out for the most part. Another way that we have been checking in with our young people is by using discussion. So I'm sure some of you have seen this photo of the Los Angeles skyline and how, in December you see the smog, and then now that we're all pretty much staying at home and people aren't driving as much and what have you, the air is a lot more clear. So just different ways that we can check in with our young people, have a discussion, and still infusing their critical thinking skills and different things like that. Another idea or thing I've been doing a lot is having fun with them. So we want to encourage as much fun and good times and make it seem like they're as much as possible, like I guess some sort of normalcy. So we've been doing a lot of just playing games. And one of the ones I really like lately is Game Pigeon. This is for my iPhone people. If you have an Android, I don't know if this app is even on Android, but for example, like one of my students, we had a Zoom meeting, a chapter meeting with one of our students, and we just played Uno on Game Pigeon via iMessage, but we're on Zoom for like 20 minutes. And it was just fun. Like it was our little icebreaker. We were like, talking, goofing around with each other. And it was just a good way just to kind of break the ice, but then also just encourage having fun with each other, because we would do that on a normal meeting anyway. So finding ways to do that, even in the situation we're dealing with. Trivia Maker is a fun one. The Game of Things. Of course, a lot of people are familiar with Kahoot. Jackbox games and crowd control games, those you actually have to pay for. So if you want, you'll get a copy of all these websites and things, and you can check them out when you have a chance. Another way, of course, we can engage youth right now is to work on a project. So if there's different things that you are looking to do with your young people, but you need to find a virtual way to do them, these are some websites you can check out. So Piktochart, which is very similar to Canva. I know Canva is like the most popular thing. I mean, Canva is amazing, to be honest, but Piktochart is another resource. Toonly, which is pretty much you can create like cartoon video clips. And then we have Slido, which is kind of like a polling or a crowd engagement type of website. So you can check these out, see if they'll work for whatever project you're currently working on. And I'm seeing some chat box messages.
So they said that Jackbox Games has a few free games for the next few months, I guess.
Oh, okay, cool.
And also thank you for the resources.
Yes, I have to share. I know, a lot of us are looking for things to get creative, so I appreciate that. I have a few more actually, I think. Oh, okay. And then some other ideas, if you're working on different projects, these are some things that we've done, or, just some ideas of things you can do right now. Social media takeovers, which pretty much means like you give someone access to your social media for the day or however long you want to give it. So maybe you have a student who you are comfortable giving them your Instagram password, and for the day they're able to post all day. Or maybe you have them create the content in advance and you post on their behalf if you can't give out passwords. Or maybe you use Facebook Live or Instagram Live or whatever platform you have. And this is a flyer from an event that we did a couple weeks ago in partnership with Melissa, who's hosting with me today. And one of our young people, they just kind of tag team through a trivia challenge, and they played music, and it was fun. It was just an easy way to keep young people engaged, and he had a good time with it. Yeah. Another way right now is to do surveys. So, excuse me, you can see in this one, the city of Long Beach right now is doing a strategic plan community survey. Pretty much they want to get feedback to strengthen the experience of youth in the city. So this is a great time to get feedback and to do surveys and also focus groups, and using this time to kind of determine how we can provide support to young people, what their needs are, what topics they want us to focus on, how we can support them, because a lot of them are doing distance learning right now. What ways can we support them with that? And then also to plan for future programming. So, at one time these restrictions will be lifted, and at that time, what do young people want to do? Like a lot of my students are like, oh, we want to do a beach day, we want to do a hiking trip. So just, getting those ideas and maybe trying to plan them now so that as soon as we can, we're ready to kind of roll with it, go do those things. Another thing is this is a great time to promote skill building and to encourage our youth-led projects. So actually right after this, 2 of our youth will be hosting what we call a quarantine talk on Instagram. So if any of you have young people that you think would be interested, they will be discussing 420. We really want to encourage it to be a safe space for young people. So if you're an adult and you plan to watch, we just ask that you respect kind of, the space so that young people just feel comfortable to ask questions and, engage and everything like that. So this is something that 2 of our youth kind of took the lead on, and we're trusting them to be able to lead the conversation this afternoon. So now I'm going to jump into what adults can do to support youth. One thing is to promote and model self-care. So I know a lot of us, or a lot of us do promote self-care or talk about taking care of ourselves, but I think it's important to share with young people, how you take care of yourself and being vocal about it. Like, so we have this self-care challenge that we give out to our young people, usually like, after we do a presentation or something, we hand it out to them, or even adults too, we hand it out. But I also make a point to share with them how I take care of myself and things that I do. Because, it's easy to just hand something to someone, but I think they need to connect on that level to know, like, yeah, I do take care of myself, and it's okay to take care of yourself, and we should be trying to promote that. Another thing that we can support young people right now is provide resources. So we want to share different resources with them. I know, a lot of families, a lot of people are dealing with things right now. So these are different like hotlines, text lines, websites that people can go on. And it may not be that they're going through something, but maybe a friend or a family member or a loved one. And typically we print out this on one side of the sheet and then this on the other side. So it's a double-sided sheet. But this will be in the Dropbox link that you get as well. So if you want to share it, feel free to do that. Because, right now, a lot of people do need these resources. Another thing is to validate their feelings. So we know that, a lot of people are dealing with different things right now. I think it's important to ask open-ended questions So asking like, how are you doing versus like, oh, I know this is a crazy time right now. So giving them time to actually answer the question instead of just kind of, if you just say, I hope you're doing well, you know, that doesn't give them an opportunity to really speak out and share how they're, you know, whatever they're dealing with. I know we have a lot of seniors right now that aren't going to get a grad night or a graduation. So I've been hearing a lot of feedback and just kind of hearing them out and validating whatever they're going through. And then this is a cute little check-in too, that, you know, if someone can't put it into words exactly how they're feeling, maybe an emoji can help out. The next one is to stay informed. So I know it's probably hard to watch the news or, you know, it's a lot of things going on in the world, but I know young people do look as up to us to give feedback and information and to have accurate info. So this is some tips. These are some tips that you can use when you do need to have those conversations. Maybe, you know, take them in consideration and remaining calm, be reassuring. I always try to watch press conferences, like, you know, whether it's the governor or the county ones, just to kind of stay updated so that I'm giving correct information. I know it's a lot of disinformation out there right now, so making sure if people are hearing things, you're able to kind of correct it. And I even had a student, actually, he was telling me like, oh, I'm not getting any sleep. And I'm like, I know, you know, I've been hearing a lot about that. And he was like, well, one of my friends said he's been using melatonin and it helps him sleep. And he was like, but I don't know if I should use melatonin or NyQuil. And I'm like, oh, you know, so we had to have a whole conversation about that and how, you know, that's probably, you shouldn't be taking NyQuil to sleep and everything like that. So they do look to us or, you know, have conversations with us. So we should try to be informed on certain things, right? Try to stick to a routine. So maybe if before all this, say for at home, you had your meetings at 3:30 on Wednesdays, try to stick to that routine if you can. I know, of course, things happen, you have to shift, but I think it's been beneficial for me when they can kind of, oh, we're going to check in Wednesday at whatever time, right? Yeah. So it's a little bit consistent for them. Another one is to share good news. So I know it's really important. I mean, good things are happening in the world. So, you know, I know me, myself, I want to try to stay positive as much as I can. We all have our days, but I think it's important to share good news and the good things that are happening out there so that it's not just all negativity that we're hearing. I have about 7 minutes, so I'm gonna skip that part. And then a couple things to consider. I'm wrapping up right now. Their priorities. So, you know, we might have young people who are taking care of younger siblings because their parents have to work, or maybe their parents lost their jobs, or, you know, whatever the case. So we really need to be thinking about our priorities. I know a lot of us are grant funded and have deliverables and things that we have to get done, but I try to be as flexible as I can because I understand people have other priorities that they need to focus on, and giving them the space and the grace to go ahead and take care of those things. Another thing is the time of meeting. So I know, you know, a lot of students are, you know, meeting with their teachers via Zoom. And if you have a meeting with them at 11 and they're supposed to be meeting with their teacher at 11, maybe they'd pick your Zoom over their teacher's Zoom. So, you know, I usually try to keep meetings like after 3 or 4, because I know that's like after the time they're supposed to be focused on schoolwork. So that's just something to consider. And then the last thing is just to try to focus on youth voice and choice in everything that we do. And I'm going to go ahead and end there. Thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, this is the time to go ahead and share your questions or raise your hand or put them in the chat box. And I'll be happy to answer them. If not, you can contact me. This is my email. This is an underscore right here, just so you know. And then this is my cell phone number. And then this is the Dropbox link. You will get it emailed to you, but I mean, if you want to take it down right now, go ahead and go for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and check the chat box right now. If there's any questions. Yes, you will receive a copy of the PowerPoint. Oops, let me stop sharing. There we go. We have a raised hand.
So what? So sorry, Tosin. Tiffany asked if you could go back to the slide where you show their emojis.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, let me stop.
Hold on just a second. I need to open up the PowerPoint again. Where is it?
But a round of applause for Tosin, everybody. Amazing, informative, many thank yous here. Great presentation.
Thank you. There we go. I have to share my screen real quick.
Any questions? Feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat box.
Someone asked, what's been your favorite activity? Oh, I don't know. Well, someone asked, what's been your favorite activity of all the ones you've done? The ones that the check-ins that I'm not sure. What's a good amount of time to have a youth leadership group? I would say 30 minutes to an hour if we're doing this via Zoom. After an hour, it kind of just gets a little bit to be much. So that's what I'd recommend. My favorite activity probably would be to play the games. I mean, they're fun to do, but I'm not sure if you meant like a project, or I need you to clarify what that means. Sorry. Or you can email me or message me or text me privately too if you have like further questions.
So there's other people asking to see particular slides, but that's all in the Dropbox, right?
Yeah, so you're going to get the slides emailed to you after the presentation with the eval and the post test. So,
and we have
you will get, and then if you have further questions, you feel free to email me or call me or text me or whatever the case. I'm seeing some people ask.
We have, how can youth get involved in FNL?
Yeah, email me and I will share more about that. At the time we're in right now, we'd have to brainstorm how we would do that because it's a little bit different situation. So maybe if you email me or reach out to me, that'd be a easier way we could talk about everything.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Tosin, again. Let's put this up.
There was someone who asked, are you using incentives to maintain the youth participation?
As of right now, we're trying to, because we do have, in a regular time, we try to give gift cards or like, swag and all that, but it's just challenging because we'd have to mail it out and trying to figure out how all that will work. But as of now, I mean, they've just been willing to participate, but I do want to be able to reward them in some way, but we're not 100% sure what that will look like. But that's a good question. Everybody likes.
Also, if you don't mind, I'll also add, when we had our youth event, our Zoom youth event a couple weeks ago, we ended up doing e-gift cards for Red Robin. So that's also an option too now around this time is if you have the funding available and can do gift cards, you can try an e-gift card because there are a lot of places that have them available, like Bath and Body Works or food places or things like that.
Yeah, those would be really beneficial right now too. So that's a great suggestion. Anything else? We got exactly 1 minute. And thanks everyone who's to pass it back to Melissa then.
Yes, so thank you, Tosin. We appreciate you. And everyone will get that info so they can send you more questions, or you can always send more questions to Jen at southbayprevention@gmail.com. And upcoming workshops. So tomorrow we have LGBTQ and their allies and substance misuse. After that, Speak Up Part 2. If you checked out Part 1, make sure you tune in. 423 with drug trends. We have a narcotics detective, so that'll be great. And then Measure, Store, and Lock Safe Storage for AOD in the home on Friday. Registration did go out for the next week, so make sure you check out your email. If not, you can always email Jen as southbayprevention@gmail.com. Registration will close Thursday. We are popping, guys, so get in where you fit in, okay? And again, thank you to BHS for sponsoring, and our partners, MAD, FNL, and ADAP, South Bay Communities Creating Change. All right, so that's it, everybody. Jen, anything you want to add? Did I miss anything?
Yes, Jen does have something to say. So for those of you who are registered for part 2 of Speak Up on Wednesday, please don't forget your homework. Start sending your homework in to me. Those are the pictures of you doing something where you're acting out your public speaking, and something that's wrong and something that's right. So whether it's a presentation or tabling or speaking to city council, whatever it is, just please don't forget to do your homework and email that to me. I will also work on sending an email reminder as well, because we are going to use some of those for our workshop on Wednesday. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jen. We're looking forward to it. Everybody, please just make sure to complete the post-test and the evaluation. We all know as providers how important feedback is, so we really greatly appreciate it, especially if you're looking to get those CEUs. Those links are in the chat box.
And a couple of people are asking for my email. You're going to get that in the PowerPoint. I sent to the person who asked me, but like we repeated already, if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. I would be more than happy to help and support.
All right, again, clap it up for Tosin. Jen, are there email reminders of post-tests and evals?
Yes, so everyone will get an email with the post-test and eval links shortly. So feel free to do that, or you can copy and paste from the chat box.
All right. All right then, so we signing off?
Yes, we will see everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Wait, Tosin, you don't go anywhere, right?
I know, I'm staying.
Okay.
Can I?
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, thanks. You're welcome.
Bye. See you, Lily.
Deuces.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's start moving some folks. Bye, Maria. Thank you. Hi, Arlen.
Bye,
I don't know what Maria was doing. Girl, hang up. Leave meeting.
Oh, that's funny.